Okay, we're going to use the next hour to draw up the wine rack. As you can see here with the bottles in there, 9 bottle wine rack. We're going to use a free bit of software called Blender to simulate what we do with these Metalcraft tools in the workshop. It takes about an hour. It's not too bad, but I would recommend watching a couple of videos to start with to get you familiar with Blender and having a little bit of practice, maybe a couple of simple little things. It's a fun little project, and each one of the things I do can be modified and changed to suit your own design ideas. So that's what we'll be doing. Let's get into it. Welcome along. Here we are in Blender. Now I'm going to show you how I would draw up some of the Metalcraft tools. We're going to make the wine rack that we make in class using Blender, which will give us a bit more of an opportunity to play around with some design ideas and elements that we need to incorporate into it and communicate our thinking. Now Blender is free. You can download it and install it if you don't have it already. So please go along and do that. And my other little bit of advice would be, if you've never used it and you're not real computer literate, you're not real confident with it, please go to YouTube and watch a little 5-minute intro into using Blender. There are millions of them out there. Find one that you like, watch it a couple of times if you have to, and then come back to this video. Okay, now you're back. You've installed Blender, you've watched a couple of tutorials, you know how to orbit around, zoom in and out, and select various parts of the software. We are going to set it up to be more like a CAD program. So I'm going to show you what I change to make it a little bit friendlier for what we want to do. Here's our default camera, light, mesh. We're going to work on the mesh, and we really don't need these two things up here. So get them in a position where you can press B, drag a box around them both, and the X to delete them. Now we're going to come back over here and make some changes, okay? So I've got the mesh there. We're going to turn that into a piece of metalwork. There's a little button on the side called Scene Properties. I want you to select that. Go over to Units, change your length to millimeters, change this little unit scale to 0.001. So millimeters and 0.001. Then I would like you to come up here, turn on the Z axis while we're here, so we get that blue Z. So what I'm clicking on is that little pull down button under the overlays, okay? Turn on the Z, and then change the scale to 0.001. So now our grid is back. We'd then like you to select the cube, press Tab, come back to where you were, and turn on the edge length, like that. And all those numbers will appear. If they don't appear, you haven't got anything selected, okay? So when you select two things, you'll see the distance. There's one more thing that we may as well change while we're here. If I press the N key and come up to View, we might add an extra 0 to this here, this clipping, and that should do us for now. Okay, any further changes, and I will show you as we go. So N makes that little properties window pop out and disappear, but it's still there. The little arrow here too does it. Okay, now you've got Blender looking how you want it to look and behaving how you want it to behave. The next time you open it up, you don't want to do all that again. Please go to File, Defaults, and save the startup file. So the next time you load it up, it will come as like this. When you are over that and you want to do something else and you need to go back to refresh it, please go back to defaults, load factory settings, and then save again. But at the moment, every time we load it up, it'll be like this which will be very useful for us. Okay, I've done that. I'm going to file, save, and I'm ready to go. Now, over here, we can change between object and edit mode, the shortcut being tab. So it needs to be selected, and then tab will take me into edit mode. Over here, up the top right hand or left hand corner, I have vertices, edges, and faces. And that means I can pick a face, an edge, or just a single point. I can hold down Shift and select multiple. And the A button will select everything, and a double click will deselect everything, which we use quite a bit. Okay, let's start off. Let's go as quick as we can, because this has been a video. You can pause it, stop it, rewind it, slow it down, speed it up, whatever you need to do to get the job done. The first thing I'm going to do is going to edit this into a bit of mild steel flat bar that we would use to make the job. I'm going to move some faces around. So if I pick that face there and then come up here to move, I can then drag it in and out. I want to make it 1/2 inch by 1/8, which is 12.7 by 3.2. So we know it is 2 by 2 by 2 to start with. So I'm going to drag it out here till I get to 3.2. Now if I keep skipping past it, if I hold down Shift, it will slow it down a little bit. So 3.2, pick that face, bring it up here. I might move there a bit, bring it up. Then when I get close to where I want to go, I hold down Shift and drag, and 12.7. I'm still in edit mode. I've still got face select. I want to bring it out so it's 60 millimeters long. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to turn off the move, that button there, just go to select, pick my face, press the letter G to grab, which is move, and I'm going along the green axis, which is Y. So I'm going to press Y. Now it started as 2. I want it to end up as 60. So I'm going to type in the difference, which is 58. It's gone the other direction, which is, it wouldn't be a problem. But if I ever want it to go the opposite, I press the minus key. So there we go. We've got, I'll do an A for everything. We've got a 60 mil by 12.7 by 3.2 piece of, in this case, metal. So I'm going to double A, unselect. Actually, I'm going to stay in edit mode. I'm going to press Control R, and then I'm going to cut in a loop. We call this an edge loop. I'm going to come over here. I haven't clicked anything yet. I press Control R, move it over to that position, which is halfway, and I'm going to roll the wheel. Down the bottom left hand corner, it's telling me the number of cuts. See, as I roll the wheel, it's going up. I want you to bring it up to 50 and then hit left button twice. So nice and evenly spaced, 50 cuts in that one bit of metal. I'm going to get out of it, and I'm going to roll that, twist it around like we would in the twister in Metalwork. What we're going to do is, we can see the little point down here is the origin of where the box, the little cube, started. It's the center of that little cube. We're going to move that to the center of this now much bigger rectangle. So I'm going to select it, press the N button, and then go to Item, and then I can see down here, location. Well, actually, the location of the origin is still 0, 0, 0, but when I right click on it and set the origin to the new geometry, that will move. So I want to make each one of these numbers 0, 0, 0. So I'm right in the middle. Once that is done, I'm going to twist it. And I'm going to do that through having it selected, coming over to my little spanner over here, and I'm going to pull down this add modifier, find my simple deform, which is in the third column, and you can see it already says twist. So I'm going to twist it around the Y. For me, the Y. If you are getting something like that, you may have drawn it the wrong direction, but change that axis there. It should be either X or Y. For me, it's Y. I'm twisting it around this green Y axis. If you find that yours is red, then it'll be the X. And if you've drawn it straight up there, you're going to have to change it to the Z axis. Now, this is where we can change our our angle, how much we twist it around. So twice, 3 times, whatever, and we can stretch it out. So let's make that 360. So we've got a nice little twist there. I'm going to apply this when I'm done, when it looks like that. Then I'm going to right click on it, shade it smooth, and we can see that it's gone a bit, it looks wrong around the edge. I'm going to go over to this green triangle to normals and get auto smooth. I'll give me my sharp corners back. Okay, so I've got a 60mm piece of metal that I've twisted, and now I'm going to extrude the ends out. So I'm going to go back to shade smooth. Okay, I'm going to go back to my edit. I'm going to pick my face here, and I'm going to do an extrude, the shortcut being E. I'm going to press E, drag it along there, and I'm going to type in. Now the original bit is 60mm. I want the overall length to be 200. 200 minus 60 is 140. So I'm going to bring each end out to 70. So I'm just going to type in 70 and hit enter. I'm going to take this face, E for extrude, come along that axis and type in 70. Now I've got a twisted bit of metal. Because I've changed it, it's no longer a cube. I'm going to double click on the cube and call it twist. While I'm here, let's give it a material. Okay, so if I come along here to the bottom little icon there, looks like a little, I guess it's supposed to look like a ball, a shaded ball, but it looks like a planet. But then again, there's a planet up here, world. World makes sense. So I think it's supposed to be like a little marble. Click on that material. There is a material already in there. It's the only object Blender will give a default material is the default cube. I'm going to click on the minus here and get rid of it. Now I'm going to add a bit, make it look metal. Okay, we've got our twist and we're going to add metal to it. Sorry about the little cut, and if it looks a little bit different, we were interrupted a little bit. Okay, so I've got my twist. I've deleted the placeholder material, and I was up to edit, preferences, and then it came down the side to add-ons, and I looked for Blender Kit, K-I-T, and turn it on. Now that has added this little tab down here. Okay, so yours might not have had that window to start with. Blender Kit, it's got a few little things here. Okay, I'm going to hide that one. My twisted metal is selected. I might look for free only, but most of the materials are free. Brings up a window like that. I want to look for materials, and I want to look for metal. So here's a bunch of materials I can add. You can go crazy with that. That one looks good. And double click on it. There we go, single click. So it's going to load that material into this object. I'm going to turn that off and then come to maybe a preview. There we go. Now nice and shiny. It looks all stretched here. I'm going to show you how to fix that. So what I'm going to do is what we call UV unwrapping, okay? So I'm going to go back to edit mode, press A to select everything, then I'm going to press U, and I'm going to go Smart UV Project. We won't go into details what that does, and then I'm going to leave that all as default and go OK, and now I've got it to look a bit more like metal. Okay, twist is done. I'm going to keep using that origin, so what I'm going to do is go G and move it along, well for me the X, you might be moving along the Y. I'm going to move it over here out of the way. Now I'm going to do the spiral. So the way I do the spiral is I'm going to go Shift A and add a curve, and it's going to be a path. There we go, it's added it along the X axis like that. So there it is, that little part there, and it's only really small. I'm going to press tab, there's a bunch of arrows, that's just a direction, you don't need to worry about that. And I'm going to subdivide. I'll show you what that is. I'm in edit mode. I'm going to press double A to deselect everything. I'm going to press B and drag a box around the two on the end. That's where I'm going to right click and subdivide, and there's a box here, another box. I'm going to open it up and change that number to 50. So I've got 50 points in there now. Double A, B, and do the same over the other end. Okay, so right click, subdivide, and subdivide by 50. So if I look at that now, that's everything. I've got a whole bunch of vertices there. I'm going to maybe, let's have a look. I'm going to change it to left. Let's have a look. Change it to front. Zoom in. And there it is. So find your curve. There it is, NURBS path. Zoom in on. Actually, you know what? I'm going to see if I can show you something. So at the moment, I'm in object and I have my twist selected. If I press the tilde key, I can go view selected and then view it. So if I've lost the little, I know it's over there, but if I've lost it, I can select it, tilde, and go view selected, and I'm in the wrong side of it. There we go, over here. So there it is, okay. I'm going to go tilde key, front, there, I've got it. Tab to edit, and we're going to make the little scroll. Make sure nothing's selected at the moment. Come up here to the top, and you'll see a little circle with the dot in the middle. Select it. It's turned on, it's gone blue, and then select the very end of your path. Hit R for rotate, and roll the wheel so it's just got all of the 50 points you made, and then curl it around like you would on the scroller. Something like that, I think, looks good. Then I want you to go B, drag a box, rotate the whole lot till we get rid of that point, that dip in it. So up here we want a nice curl straight down there like that. I'm going to curl this one up the other way. So double click, double A, so nothing is selected. That's a few A's. Select the very end, R, and that's already in there. So I'm going to maybe curl it around just as big. And then I'm going to go B for box, rotate it around like that. Now I'm going to do one more thing because I don't want it to look like that so much. I want to have this one as a small one. I'm going to scale it. So I pressed S and I'm scaling it down. I might scale it so it's on the same line. Oh, there we go. It's a line there. I've got another little problem here. I've got a little dip there, and I can see that's the Z axis up and down. I'm going to go G, Z, and move it up. So it's got curls around, there's no little kink in it. And looks pretty good. Now I'm going to get out of edit mode and have a look again. Okay, looks alright. It probably curls up a little far here, but I'll fix that up in a minute. When I'm in object mode and it is selected, I'm going to come up to object and come down to convert and convert to a mesh. It is now a mesh. If I hit edit and pick the vertices, I can see all the vertices. It's added a lot to it, so let me show you one more thing. I'm going to select the whole lot. I might turn the numbers off for a minute. So up here under my overlay, I'm going to turn off the edge length. And I might come to mesh, clean up, and go limited dissolve. Okay, it's got rid of a bunch that were unnecessary. When that's done, I'm going to go back to edit or object. And I might, at this stage, I might rotate that one around the Z-axis so it's aligned with that one. So I'm going to go R for rotate, Z for Z-axis, and then type in 90. So it's perfectly 90. And I'm going to look straight at it. I think I'm from the back here, so I'm going to look at it from the right, left. There we go. Left view. Okay, so I can see it. It's selected. Change it while I'm up here to scroll. Still selected. I'm going to press S for scale and scale it to about there, I think. Something like that. And go back to edit. And I might get rid of a few of these off the end. They don't really look like that when we do it. So double A, I'm in edit mode, B, drag a box around there, and X to delete vertices. And I'm going to do the same over here. B, X, vertices. Okay. That looks a bit more like what it will come out like. I'm going to press A to select everything. And I'm going to extrude along the X. So E, X. If you've drawn it the other way, you'll extrude along the Y. Or perhaps you've done it upside down, you're going to extrude it along the Z. But I'm going to type in 12.7. Hit enter. So there's my scroll. Now I scaled that. So if I look at the item here, it's selected. My scale, I scaled it 35 times. I want to reset the scale quickly. So I'm going to press Control A and go down to scale and hit scale. I could also do rotation, but I don't think it matters. Okay. So I've reset the scale. Scale here says 1. I'm going to get rid of that. And now I'm going to add a modifier to it. And come down here while it's selected to the spanner, add modifier, and I'm going to add solidify. Solidify I'm going to make 3.2, and I'll tab down and have a look. So that's what it looks like. Looks pretty good. Pretty much like the other piece. That's how I want it. I'm going to right click on it, shade smooth. Once again, it's done that smoothing the edges. So I'm going to come down here, auto smooth the normals. So now it looks nice and sharp. Everything looks good. I come to my material and change it to metal scratched. It looks a bit stretched. So I'm going to go into edit mode, press A and then U and go Smart UV Project. And now it looks more like what I want it to look like. What I do have is the edge. You can see the original path and then it's got the solidify on top of it. For this project, I don't think we'll worry too much. We'll go back to object mode, go to my modifiers and I'll apply that. Okay, so what that'll do is make it a solid object. We'll go back into edit. I'll unwrap it again because if you have a look at these edges, that doesn't look very realistic. I'm going to press tab, U, and Smart UV unwrap, and now it looks better. Okay, like a piece of metal should. Okay, I've called that the scroll, I've called that the twist. I'm going to move that one away too, so I'm going to press G, X, and move it up there. Now we're going to do the ring. The ring's pretty easy. I'm going to go Shift A, add a circle, and then I get the little option there, Bezier circle, and pull it up. And I know from a little bit of mathematics that 295, which is what we cut the original length, will roll into a circle that has a radius of 47 mils. I'm going to type in 47. Done. That 47, I'm going to go into edit, hit all, or actually, before I do it, I'm going to go to object and convert it to a mesh. Now edit. I've got these little points around here, so make sure you convert it to a mesh. A to select everything, E to extrude. I'm going to go up the Z axis and go up 12.7 millimeters. Okay, there it is, and that's to my outside. So now I'm going to add the modifier to this one. So same modifier as I just did, solidify, 3.2. Now it's popped it to the outside. For me, I think for this one, I'd like to go to the inside, so I'm going to go minus 3.2. Now it's to the inside. We'll apply that too, I think. We'll right click, shade smooth, and turn our auto smooth on. We'll select everything in edit mode, U and smart UV project, and then we'll go down to our materials and we'll make it metal scratched as well. It looks like a nice bit of metal rolled and then welded, and we can do welds and stuff like that later, but we're not going to do that. We're just doing the design at the moment. Okay, so we've got 3 parts. I'm going to rename that the ring. Now let's start getting it together. So I've got my parts there. Now there is the feet as well. So what I might do is I'll copy that in a little bit. I'll take the ring, I'm going to rotate it. I'm going to rotate on the Y axis like that. I'm going to type in 90. Okay, so I've got one ring there. I might hide these actually. So I'm going to go click on the eye, hide them both. Click back on the ring. Let's add some more modifiers to it. First one is an array. I want to go 0, and along the Y axis 1. Okay, so if I look to the front, tilde, front, I'm working to the left actually, to the left. Okay, so along the Y, you may for this need to go along the X, but hopefully not the Y yet, or the Z. Okay, so basically I've got that selected, I've added a modifier, and I want it to go across, so you play with these 2 numbers till you pick the right one, and then make it 3. Minimize that. I'm going to add another modifier. So another array, and this time I'm going to go 3. So we've got something like that. Kind of working a bit upside down, but anyway. That's what I've got for mine. If I wanted to, I could hide the floor. Just have it like that to start with. Okay, looks pretty good. There we go. That's 9 wine bottles. I could play with those modifiers. See what it would look like if I had more or less. A lot of wine. Okay. Or I could make some other interesting design choices. But anyway, I think that one was 3. And minimize that. And this one was 3. 3. Tab. Okay, 3 by 3. Be 9 bottles. I'm going to then come back to my twist. I think I'll add my twist now, and I need to rotate that. I will rotate that on the Z-axis 90 degrees. Now let's go to the front, and I'll rotate the whole job in a little bit, but G, X, and move it in till I'm right on the edge, G, X, about there. Now, if your computer is working very slowly because it's in textured mode, change it to your shaded mode, like that, up here. I'll keep mine. Actually, I will change it to shaded so we can get a bit of an idea. So zoom in, G, X, get them right on the edge there. And then I'll go to the left. Now, there's my piece right in the middle, right in the origin. I am going to go G, Y, and move it till it is about there. Tilde again. Go to my, well, go to the right, you'll see. Probably better to work from the right for this. Okay, so I was looking at it that way, along there. But if I look at it tilde from the right, that's better for what I want. Okay. G, Y, till it just touches a bit like that. Now I'm going to put one over here, 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 and here. So maybe I'll come down first. While it's selected, add the array modifier. Make this 0. That one 1. And it's probably, oh, it's gone to the back. So I don't want that 0. I want this one 1. Oh, yep, that's where I want it. Let's put 1 down there. And I'm going to move it down till I get it in the right spot. You might have to move it up. So I'm going to drag that. So what I did is I clicked my left button on that arrow and I can just move it. So you might want to try with 4, but I'll use 6. So I'm going to go back to my right, zoom in, and bring it down till I get it right there. Right at that point, that's when I can up it to 3, and that should be equally spaced. Happy with that, and I'm going to add another array modifier, but this time I'm going to drag it along here, and I might zoom in. So somewhere between there, so I'll make it 7.5. There we go. So I might have to type in a dimension to get it right. Starting to look like a wine rack. I'm going to take that and I'm going to add a new modifier called a mirror. But I don't want to mirror it that way. I want to mirror it at the end of these. So I'm going to say, there's my mirror. Mirror object is going to be the twist. And I'll put on the Y and turn off X. So I could mirror it all over. For me, it was the Y. I'm going along the Y axis, so I'm mirroring it along here. But you might be the X, okay? You may have drawn yours in slightly different orientation than mine. So play around till you get it right like that. I'm going to add the scroll on top. Okay, so the scroll, I'm going to show, there it is there. But I'm also going to turn that into a foot actually. So I'm going to go Shift D and drag it along, well, it doesn't matter where, Y, I'll put it over there out of the way. Rename it foot and hide it for the time being. This one here I'm going to put on top in that orientation. If it's not in the right orientation, go R and rotate it to where you want it. But keep typing in like 90 or rotate around on the Z, 180, whatever you want to do. Mine's going to be fine like that. I want the big scroll there in the middle and the little one at the end. So I'm going to go to the front, press G, X, I'm going along that red axis, X, zoom in, G, X, and move it right to there. And then I'm going to go back to the right, and I'm going to move it up. So G, Z, up. Now, I'm probably a little long, so I might fix that up. I'm going to go look at it the right, and go into edit, and I'm going to go double A, unselect, B to select, and I'm going to drag this with the G, but I'm going to actually see what happened there. I picked the front but not the back. I'll show you how we get around that. Double A. There's a button here called X-ray, and turn that on, and now when I pick those, it'll pick everyone behind there as well, and I'm in orthographic mode. Okay, so make sure you're not looking like that in perspective. So orthographic mode, I've selected the end. I'm going to press G, and I'm going to move it in a little bit. I can be all sorts of creative with that. Now I'm going to go R and rotate it a little bit. I might even go to there, right click and set the origin to geometry. Let's see if that helps me. G, Z, come down. Oh, it's not too bad. So this one's not quite touching, so I'll go back, tilde, right, rotate. In fact, if I change it to that, I think it'll show up better. So to shaded view, I still think I should come in a bit more here. I could still rotate that too. Didn't like that rotate. Bring it back a bit here. Object mode, G, Z. Bring it down a bit like that. And I actually want it right in the center. Well, it might be pretty much the center. I think that looks like the middle. I'm going to do something now that we haven't done yet. I'm going to go into edit and pick one of these edges, I think. One of these. So turn off my X-ray. I'll pick that one and I'm going to mirror it around there. So the furthest one away. That one should be good. Right click. We've done this already. And I'm going to snap cursor to selected. Go out of it. Now I've got the cursor there. I'm going to go Shift A, add an empty. I want to see it a bit better, so I'll make it 30 or something like that. There we go. And I'm going to mirror that around that. So select this object, go down to mirror, and then I'm going to say mirror about the empty. I haven't given it a name. I could give it a name if I wanted. And Y, turn off the X. So there we go. Let's have a look if that looks pretty good. It doesn't look centered because tilde right, it's over here. So that needs to come forward a bit. So if I take that, maybe if I take this one and this, let's move, let's get rid of that mirror to start with. And I might have a look here. So I should have that one, G, Y, there, G, Z. Maybe rotate it around. And move that one. Okay, so I'm going to move that cursor and empty. Still selected. Edit, still selected. I'm going to right click, snap cursor to selected. Take my empty, right click and go snap to selection to cursor. So there it is now. I've moved it. Take that one, add the mirror around the empty Y, and that's looking a bit better. So let's have a look if that moves. Let's move them all together. Something like that. It's better. So what I did there was I picked the empty, held down shift, picked that, and I just shifted it. Now I'm going to mirror that one. So select it, add a new mirror modifier, and put it to the twist. Okay, it went to that side. So I'm going to turn that off and put it on the y-axis, so around that green one there. Looking better already. There it is. And let's make the foot. So I did intend to break this up into little videos, but I was running out of time. So at the moment I've got one labeled foot. I'm going to turn that on and I'm going to rotate it around the Y. So I'm going to go rotate Y and make it 180. Not really where I wanted, but I'll rotate around the X. 180. Yeah, okay, like that. So I got it down. I'm going to move it now and show you what my plan is. Tilde, right. Okay, so I want to do this. I want to go. Although that's interesting for a foot too. That'd be interesting to look at. Could imagine that mirrored around. But I'm going to do it like the original plan. So I'm going to go tilde, right, rotate, and make it sort of, hold down shift to get it right. So make it a bit like, so a bit straight. Get it close. Go off the lines there. Okay. I'm going to go right click, set origin to geometry. It was probably there anyway. I'm going to hold down shift and right button, puts my 3D cursor here. And we still haven't spoken much about that. But anyway, shift A, add a cube. And now it's really small. So I'm going to scale it. I knew it was there. I can see it over here. And I'm going to move it. So, right, G. I want to cover up half of that. Well, you know, from where it goes flat. So that little scroll, I want to cover that up. Now I'm going to add a new modifier, a Boolean. And I'm going to go, difference is fine. And the object is going to be the cube. And let's cut away that. Apply and delete that cube. There are other ways to do it. That's just one way that I did it. Okay, so tilde, front, grab that, G on the X, move it to where we're going. G, Z up there. And I hope this hasn't been too much of a head spin for you. G, Z. I can see it's a little bit under. Z. I could use some snapping tools if I wanted, but I'm just getting it roughly where I want it to go. Okay, I'm going to get right view, G, Y, and move it. I think it would look good about there. So right under this line here. Now I'm going to use some of those snapping tools I told you about. I'm going to bring that out to halfway. Okay, so I'm going to turn on the little magnet, vertex, that should do me. Look at it from the right, go into edit, Make sure nothing's selected. Press B and select here. Now, I did forget to turn my X-ray on. So B, select those, and then G, Y, and drag it out. It should snap into halfway. Hopefully it will. So there we go. Halfway, I've snapped it along there. Pick a vertice, shouldn't matter which one. That one there I'm going to pick. Right click, snap cursor to selected. Press tab. I've got my 3D cursor there, so I'm going to go Shift A, add an empty. It's the same size as what I added before, empty 01. I could call it empty foot or something like that. And I'm going to mirror that one around the empty. Oh, wrong empty. Oh, actually, I probably could have used that empty up there. Let's see if it works. Use that empty. There you go. Yeah, I didn't need that second empty, so I'm just going to keep it clean and delete that. There you go. So it mirrored it around there. Now you've done this a couple of times already, so pick the foot. Make another mirror. And this one's going to be around the twist again, but not on X for me, on Y. And I have it. There we go. I'm going to go turn my metal on, have a look. So there's my wine rack. Done. Let's make some modifications. Let's test it out. Let's see what happens if I only had a really simple one. I'll do, if I didn't have enough time to do the 9, or I didn't want 9, or I wanted to show a customer how I could cut costs or whatever, I'm going to take the whole lot, and I'm going to go Shift D to duplicate it along the Y over here, somewhere out of the way, and I can make this a collection, so I could right click, get a new collection out of that. So I've got a collection 2. Oh no, that didn't work. Maybe I'll cut and move to collection. Collection 2. There we go. That wasn't too bad. So it's like a group. So I could say collection 2, collection 1, I can turn them on and off. Okay, so let's go to 2. Let's make the modification to 2. Let's say we didn't want, we wanted 2 like that. And then I'm going to take this one, 2. And then for this, I'm just going to go G, Z, move it up. Go back here. Right. Yeah, it's not too bad. So now I'll turn that on. So I've got one with 6 and an option with 9, and I could name these 6 bottle wine rack, 9 bottle wine rack. Okay, so there's 2 like that. That's pretty good. I can do all sorts of things with that now if I wanted. So I'm just going to pause it and I'll show you what I could do. Okay, you're all finished, and here is something I did earlier and dropped it into a program or a website called Sketchfab. Dropped some pre-made bottles in there to show a customer what it would look like. And I could put it into a document, a catalog. I could drop it into a PowerPoint, website, animation. I could do all sorts of things with that. Okay, let's have a look at maybe another one. The other one we do in Year 7. all the same components, just scaled and stretched and moved around a little bit, and then I can start trialing different things. So these are exactly the same meshes that I made for that project we just did. Exactly the same, and I just transformed it into the Year 7 job that we make in Year 7, the little pot plant holder. Okay, very easy, I think anyway, but it takes you a couple of goes to get used to it. Nothing, well actually I said very easy, but that's not true. Nothing in life is easy. Everything takes a little bit of work, but with, power is knowledge. This will give you an edge over the next person. If you're going for a job, an apprenticeship, giving some customer a quote in years to come, if you can model it, if you can demonstrate, if you can show it, you are really cooking with gas. You're really going to get far. Okay, so there we go. That was it. I wanted to do it in separate little videos, but I did it in one big video, and I hope you have the patience to get from beginning to end and give it a couple of goes and use it for many other projects in the future. Okay, good luck with it, guys.